Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate, episode 37? Holy shit, we're on 37 already. Tonight, we are going to be talking about LVL results, Amg Razor Crest spoilers, and Week 3 Trilogy matchups. With me tonight on the mic is my good buddy, JJ. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing all right, man. It was a heck of a weekend between the NFL playoffs, LVO being fantastic in-person events. They had a lot of great stuff on stream. Thank you, GSP, for putting on that great event, and Flight Better as well for putting on, helping GSP with that as well. You guys are all great. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So you're probably all wondering, why are we casting tonight after we complained and said we weren't going to do it last week? So here's the answer. Here's the long and short of it. I came down with COVID the day before I was supposed to fly out to LVO. So guess who did not get to go to LVO and represent the Planning Phase Syndicate team? This guy. So tonight, if I'm a little salty and sound a little under the weather, I apologize. I will be more apologetic for how I sound than the saltiness, because I'm still pretty pissed that I didn't get to go.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man.
And I guess we try. So Charles isn't here, so I get a little bit more political tonight, and he can't really do anything about it because he's not here to yell at me. And I don't really feel this is super political, but I understand people can get COVID, and I won't lie and say with me getting it, right, I have had less symptoms than typically a lot of other people have. I didn't lose my voice. Was heavily congested for a couple of days, but it was just on and off. It wasn't even consistent. I didn't have a fever. I did sleep more than you can imagine, in fairness. But other than that, my life wasn't super altered by it. And, you know, some of that's because I've been boosted. I've had both my vaccines. We do work pretty cautiously for the most part. But this is where it comes in to say, hey, if I had not had those, I 100% would have been worse off than what I am today. And I won't blame any specific individual or any group of people. But what I'm going to say is that if you're one of those who still at this point are refusing to get vaccinated, fuck off. Because people that continue to not embrace this and to at least help try to bring down this are the reason people like me couldn't go to LVO. You know, I contacted COVID. I had to go into my office, which is probably where it came from, in fairness, even though we do wear masks at the office. But there is always those times where you're in a closer quarters with people than you'd prefer to be. And they're not even making their kids mask at school right now. And it's just ridiculous. So my little speech is either I'm going to have to quarantine until the next big event that I want to go to so that I don't get sick, because getting my money back has been nothing but a hassle.
Yep.
And people just need to be more cautious in what they're doing. So normally I don't get super emotionally political in that, but this COVID thing has like really pissed me off for the people that refuse and continue to push this virus farther. And that's all I'll say on it. I'll move on and just be salty that I wasn't the one to bring a droid swarm to win LV fucking O. But somebody did.
Yes, congratulations, Isophane. You did fantastic. I was watching you just play that game. You flew it like a champ. It came close there at the end, but you pulled it out. Great job, Isophane.
Oh yeah, that was a amazing final. I will say, as a fellow Separatist player, I understand what you were doing with Seer going 4 straight there, or not going, going 4 straight with the other drone, doing the barrel roll and blocking. But if you truly thought Django was going to turn in like that, you could have just dumped the drone 4 straight, double calculated, left them there, pulled your Seer in, and then one banked with your Seer, or barrel rolled to the left and focused for stress with your Seer if your goal was to block Django. Just saying. That's probably what I would have done. But hey, I wasn't at the top table, and I highly doubt that I would be at this point anyway. So even if I was there, I do like his list. So JJ, when we get to his list, we're going to probably spend a little bit more time on it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially because a lot of people have written Seer off because of the cost, because he is the most expensive Belbalab that we have. So I don't know. I thought it was a good one. I was happy to see a Separatist win the day, and I will be happy to see them win the next tournament as well. They're my bold prediction. Unless they kill our points, Separatists will always be on top.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I'm eating a snow cone.
Yeah, no worries.
Because it helps with my voice. So.
Yeah. So let's get started first with the fun stuff, the AMG spoilers that we got revealed this week from the Mando pack. I was actually really excited to see what the generics were going to look like here for the ST-70 assault ship, because the only thing that we've really seen in the series is just Mando pilot the Razor Crest, and of course the droid for that one episode for the jailbreak. But I had no idea what else they were going to do for like the generics here, and this is pretty good here. So this one here is the Guild Bounty Hunter. It reads, while you perform an attack at attack range 1 to 2, you may spend 1 non-recurring charge for one of your equipped illicit upgrades to change one focus result into a crit result. And this is a 2-pip unique generic card here, so you can actually run 2 of these in your squad. I think that depending on the points, this could be potentially really, really good to run with Jabba the Hutt, and probably Dead Man Switch to just constantly give yourself like passive mods for this. Heck, even just running one of this with Jabba would be really, really good, I think, because this, you can easily just spend your action to either evade or reposition to make sure you get that shot, and then you have that passive result here to change that focus into a hit. And if this has a talent slot, you can put in Fearless, and if you're in that front arc, you get 2 soft mods right there easily.
Yeah. Nope. And I guess I'm not as excited per se about the ability. I think it's an okay ability. I don't have an issue with it at all, to be honest with you. I just don't know if I would say that is like that's why I would carry it. Though I do say I'd like the I like the Jabba theory if you can carry 2 charges with this. I do like that. And you could pair this again with Boba. You could pair this with other bounty hunters, and everything's going to all depend on how many crew slots it has. Points cost, I don't know if I'm as worried about it. I am a little worried because it has no bloody shield. I forgot all about that. Is this thing will burn down a little bit faster because of the missing shields. But I do really like the fact that you have that option. So you could put Deadman Switch right on there, and then if you don't want to use it, or you're doing really well, right, you have that option to shoot and kill and get an extra crit with it. I wonder if these things will have talent slots. That's I think that's going to be like one of the best. Like that'll be a big thing, because think about it this way: with this, you could put Greedo and marksmanship on this ship, and marksmanship at minimum will be really good on this ship. But if you have marksmanship and Greedo, you could go from having like all your other dice to all crits.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that this will eventually have, or this will come up with a talent slot, because I still think that the missing 4th pilot for this would be like a lower like base generic. That would be like either like an initiative 1 or initiative 2 with no talent slot to make them like a 4 pilot breakdown for this particular chassis. I can easily see AMG doing that, and this generic and having the talent slot for generic.
Yeah, and I like it. I think it'll be worthwhile to I think it'll be a worthwhile endeavor to fly at least 1 or 2 of these. And I do like that it's 2 pips, so at least I get 2 of them. So
the next one that we have, go ahead.
So the second list in the final was, you had a droid swarm with Seer, and then you had Jango Maul, which we'll get to in a minute, because when we get to that LVO part, we'll get to that. All right, go ahead with the next one.
So the next one that we have here is an illicit that was revealed for bounty hunters only. This one is the Tracking Fob, is a 3-pip unique. The card reads: set up after placing forces, choose an opponent. They assign the marked for elimination condition to one of their ships. They must assign this to a limited ship if able to. You ignore range restrictions while acquiring locks on the ship with the mark for elimination condition. And then the condition card itself reads: while you defend, if the attacker is equipped with Tracking Fob and has a lock on you, you cannot spend green tokens. This is a fantastic card. I can easily see this card being about 6 to 7 points because of its strong ability for you to easily just get the target lock from turn one, and then just going in and then just making sure that that ship has no green tokens, or not able to use green tokens here. This is going to be particularly strong, particularly strong against 2 ship lists that are generic or uniques, because you're going to have to choose one of those 2 ships to have this assigned to.
Yeah, I like this. John was not as liking of this as I was, but this to me made a lot. Like, I hope it's not 7 points, honestly, but it probably should be pointed that way. You think? I don't know. That's gonna be that's a hard call, because some of me says it should be pointed that way, and some of me says that just feels a little overpowered or overcosted at 7 points for what
Do you
it can
think 5
do.
would be more fair? Because you do have to have the restriction of having the lock.
Yes, I feel 5 is probably the smarter avenue for it to go. But again, I mean, I could see it coming in at 3 or 4, but I really hope not, because 5 makes it so that because this is 3-pip. You could take 3 of these.
Yeah.
Like, if this is like 3 points, I mean, I know we don't have crack shots, but this is pretty strong for what it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the ships that currently can take this, right, because this is bounty hunter only. Right now we have Koshka Frost, we have the generic bounty hunter on the fire spray, we have Zuckus, the generic G1A starfighter, we have Dengar and Manaru, we have Non-Lum that can equip this as well, Victor Hell and Captain Jacero over on the Kirax fighter. Asajj Ventress, Ketsu can also equip this as well. Sabine Wren, Tarani Kolda, Tarani with this would be crazy good, honestly. Quentin Jest and Sarko Plank in the tractor bot, the quadrojet, the space tug. And then Dalen Oberos in the Star Viper as well as Latrazi Bosk, and then Kato Lichos in the Z95 as well. Those are all bounty hunters that can equip this particular upgrade for Scum.
Do they have illicit slots on Fang Fighters?
You mean for the new ones or the current ones?
Current ones.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so hear me out. So we know a Mandalorian pack is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The probability that they're going to give Mandalorian keywords to certain Fang Fighter pilots is pretty high. So this on Tarak or Old T sounds awesome if they have that illicit slot, right?
Yeah, but this is restricted to bounty hunter, not Mandalorian.
So okay. Yeah. I gotcha. Okay, well, never mind.
On top of that, the Fangs don't have the illicit either, which is the other part of it too.
Gotcha. So okay, so not quite as good. So definitely it should not be more than 5 points then, because it's got a limited usage to it. So I wonder why they pipped it at 3 then, right? Like, what's the point of pipping it at 3? Like, how many bounty hunters are in Scum like that you could fit in a list?
Yeah, I mean,
you ain't getting more than 3 of these.
This does work well as well with tracers as well, because you can use your like let's say if you have ships at the same initiative, right? You spend your luck, hoping to just push in damage. Then another ship at the same initiative that has tracer missiles shoots a missile at that ship that still has a token. If it hits, everybody regains their luck. And now, if they decide to shoot at the ship that has the tracking fob, now they can't use those tokens on offense. So that is still pretty strong.
Yeah. Now, our next card is Burnout Brusters. After you perform a slam action, lose 1 energy. Then you may gain 1 deplete token to remove that disarm token. If you have no active energy, you cannot perform a slam action. This is unfactioned, scum, or small and medium base ships only. Now, you know what this can go on in Separatists, right?
Well, no, it says scum. It does say scum. So you do have
so it's not small or medium ship, it's only going to be scum.
Yeah, it'll be scum only for small or medium ship in scum.
Okay.
So I wish you could put this on Separatist, because this will be ridiculous on some of the droids. Yeah. but yeah, no, this will be really good. Now I gotta say, just as a side note, I love the art of putting this on a on the stupid Kimagila. I think that's pretty dope. But honestly, I want to see this on like an M3A, just for the hell of it, to get like Sunny Bounder at range 1 from the get go. That'd be great.
Yeah, because you can go 10 forward. You do 2
exactly.
5s.
Yeah, 2
and then you can shoot.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is that she's depleted, and you're rolling 1 dice. You can add a result.
That's awful. I don't think this will be a lot of points either. I hope it's a little bit more than 1 point, only because the last thing we need is a bunch of freaking, ships being able to add it. And I'm looking at UM3As.
This has got to be at least 3 points, I would say, because I think this is better than like the intercept boosters that they have for the tri-fighters, because you have the ability to remove that disarm token for deplete. So you're taking a lesser shot, but at the same time, you're still able to shoot. So yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think this is good. This was so far my favorite upgrade that we've seen come out of the Razor Crest so far, even more than the child, I guess.
Yeah,
like I really do like this. I think this is kind of really cool. I do hope to God it's at least 2, if not 3 points. I just, and if they want to price it differently based on the size of the ship, I think I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because I think that you probably get more out of the medium bases because they're able to move faster than the smaller bases. So yeah, I think that it should be costed according to the size of the ship. So yeah.
Yeah. Now there's a rumor. This is. I don't know if this is actually going to be in. I don't know if this is going to be in the Mandalore pack. I know this will be in the
Razor Crest.
The Razor Crest pack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Since it is scum only. There was a rumor that this was allowed on other ships, though. Just as an FYI, in other factions. I think when it was being play tested. Okay. So just as a rumor. I don't know for a fact. That's what I heard. So
when it gets spoiled, we'll see.
Well, we did see it spoiled. It's right there.
No, I mean like the rules pack. The insert that has like all the rules for everything. So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, so that was my excitement. Oops, going too far. I like this card a lot. I'm hoping this is a 3-point upgrade, maybe 4. I just want to keep it out of the hands of too many scum ships because I think it'll be too good otherwise.
Yeah.
Now we have one more technical spoiler per se, but I just checked and it's not on the site. So 4 days ago, whatever day I came down with COVID, they had released on Amazon the Gauntlet Fighter for purchase. I bought it. I have not received it. It has not shipped. Let me double check. I have not double checked today to to see if it hasn't shipped. So I'm going to do that. I'm guessing it's a screw up on Amazon's behalf. If not, I will physically have a gauntlet, I guess. It says it's arriving on Tuesday, but it has not officially shipped. So I'm scheduled to get a gauntlet fighter, even though I don't think that they are supposed to have them out yet. So the rumor has it was going to be end of March. Same with the Razor Crest, got pushed back to the end of March. And I called my local to say, hey, did you guys happen to get some gauntlet fighters in this weekend? Or did you hear a rumor that you're getting them in next week? Because I just need to know. Because if not, whatever. I'll pay full price on Amazon for this because I'm sure I can sell it to somebody. But like, if it happens, we will have an emergency. We will spoil all the cards. I'm sorry, AMG. Maybe that'll disqualify us from an interview in the future. But like, seriously, that would be insanely crazy if we got gauntlets next week. That I would be ecstatic if that happened.
That would be great.
Yes. Very excited. So that was our exciting news. We won't spoil the new ship from Book of Boba yet. I guarantee you that ship will definitely be coming to X-Wing. If AMG does not do that, they are insanely crazy. Insanely crazy if they don't do that. But we'll talk about, we are going to do an after show after our cast tonight to talk about whatchamacallit, the Book of Boba. I'm sorry, it's COVID brain.
Just without spoiling what ship it is, I honestly think it will be 2 years before we see that particular ship come in. I know that it's technically something we've seen before, but because of the nature of the ship itself, I think that there needs to be plate testing done, and we have to see more pilots available for that particular ship in order for it to become like a full expansion. So I think it'll be a while before we see that. Not to mention that, AMG still has to get all the license approval from Lucasfilm and Disney before they can put anything on anything for X-Wing. So that approval process alone is like months. So yeah.
So I did not know that, but I guess District Foundry has a 3D printed model of that.
Yeah, so, it's called Wizard.
We officially will be looking at that tonight during our spoiler cast. And I may just purchase one or two. Yeah. I don't even fly that ship, but I might just for that. Yeah. Which, speaking of, we'll have to talk with Charles, but I have a feeling what would be beneficial. And if you guys are watching this and you want to do it too along with us, maybe I'll create a forum and we can do a discussion about what pilots could potentially fly that ship and what factions we think we'll see it in. We could do that because I disagree heavily with Charles on what his belief is, but we got to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to. I can't.
We're venturing into spoiler territory. Yeah. All right, cool. So the next thing we want to do before we get into the breakdown of the top list of LVO is just do a quick recap here for our week 3 matchups here for the Trilogy Tournament. We went 3-0 last week. Thank you to both John and Charles, or actually you and John.
What's me?
For your wins. You guys did fantastic. Your games were really good. So this week we are facing against Filth Down Under, which is the team that will be facing off this week. The first matchup we have here is going to be Charles versus Michael O'Connor. His list for Charles, just for a quick recap of what Charles' list is. He's flying a double fire spray list for Scum. It's Boba Fett equipped with Fearless, Seismic Charges, False Transponder Codes, Stealth Device, Slave 1, the Separatist title, with Skilled Bombardier, and then Iman Zaman with Cad Bane, Proximity Mines, False Transponder Codes, Stealth Device, and Drassa title, and Proton Bombs. The list that he'll be facing off is a First Order list. It is the TIE Silencer Kylo Ren with Extreme Maneuvers and Sensor Scramblers, Major Von Reg and the TIE BA with Daredevil, and then Breach in the TIE FO Bomber with Feedback Peen, Proton Torpedoes, Weapon Systems Officer, Proximity Mines, and Delayed Fuses. This is going to be a pretty interesting matchup because there is an initiative match between Kylo Ren and Breach with Boba, and then Major Bonrank at initiative 6 as well that can move after everybody else has moved. I think this is going to be a tough matchup for Charles here because of that initiative, that difference, or that even initiative between the two. It could definitely make the difference there between having getting a good spot onto to push damage onto either Kylo or Breach, and or them just arc dodging and just punishing Boba, right? The good thing about it though is that because Eamon is a lower initiative, he will be able to react better with dropping bombs before Breach can reposition. So ideally, he can drop bombs onto the proximity mines onto Breach before he gets to do that system phase boost, and drop something on his own.
I have a quick question though.
Yeah.
Does it go by? It doesn't go by initiative. I thought it went by player order now.
So I have to review the rules again. I believe it still goes by player order and then initiative at the same time. Like your initiative 4 would do their system phase first, then the initiative 5s would do that for next after that. So like for instance, for the bombs, when you're doing your stuff, Iman has to drop his bombs first before Boba can do his bombs later. Like if you're dropping bombs from both your ships at the same time. So I believe it applies across the board for both of them. I'll have to verify with Nabi if that's the way we would do it. I believe that's how it is there. But yeah, system phase would still be initiative phase based rather when it comes to like timing for dropping those bombs.
Nope, and that's good to know. I guess I didn't know that. I don't run a lot of bombers, so even though I used to, I don't now. But that's a good thing to know in my case because Eamon being able to do it means you can put Eamon right in the kind of right in there to try to kill Breach off. Question is, does Breach get rerolls based on those bombs or only friendly bombs?
So you're thinking Grudge. So Grudge is the
right.
initiative 2 one. Yeah, Breach is the one that gets a free target lock whenever he goes past you or overlaps you.
Gotcha.
So even better that's his ability. Yeah. So his particular ability is really nice when you are in close range with another enemy, and then you do that system phase boost that goes through like and clips like the edge of an enemy because you get that free target lock, and then on top of that you get to drop a bomb after you boost. So that is something that Charles will have to contend with in this particular list. So yeah.
Yep. I don't know if I think the bigger issue is the Kylo Ren, right? I think that's I really think that's the bigger issue to contend with. Boba does better with more ships typically. So this is going to be a lot harder for Boba, especially if everybody could stay at range 2 to 3 of him. So and Breach is going to be definitely in the back because Breach is he's got protons. So I think this is a bad matchup personally for Charles. I'm sad that you gave that matchup to Charles.
Sadly, it wasn't one that I gave. Unfortunately, it was one that was matched up on him. The next one that we did set up, this one I did actually set up myself. This one is going to be myself. I'm running a first order list. It's Blackout with Trick Shot and Sensitive Controls. Kylo Ren in the TIE Whisper with Predator, Biohexit Crypt Codes, and the Enhanced Jamming Suite, and Lieutenant Tamsin with the Sensor Buoy Suite and the Biohexit Crypt Codes. And I'll be facing off against a Rebel list. His list is... I think I copied the wrong one, but it is a Rebel list. It is Leia with Compassion and Engine Upgrade. We have Luke with just the foils, and Ahsoka Tano with Instinctive Aim and Proton Torpedoes. So it's a 555s list that I'll be facing off against. He does have a slight advantage over me because he does have the Force that he can rely on. So Jam doesn't affect him as much to do it. But once he is Force starved, not having those extra mods definitely hurts. And because I have the ability with sensitive controls, I do have a greater agency to block him, to deny him those extra actions. So I do have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that. Leia having Compassion can pull the crits from the other ships to bring onto her, making the other ships survive a little bit longer. And then Ahsoka being a great coordinating piece in a pinch. that can pass off actions to even stress ships with her ability. So that can really help out either Luke or Leia get out of a jam if they end up getting like caught in a corner somewhere. So I think that it's a pretty good matchup, but I think I could still possibly pull that off. So yeah. And then the last matchup here is it's going to be an interesting one. It's a Separatist versus Separatist face-off. We have John. He's going to be facing off against Octor Khan. So John's list is Zam Wessel with Jammy Beam, Count Dooku, Thermal Detonators, and Shield Upgrade, with 2 Separatist interceptors with independent calculations, and then a Separatist drone with independent calculations and struts. And then Octor is running another Separatist list. He's running 2 Federation drones with Discord missiles and struts, 4 more Trade Federation drones with just struts, and then 2 Techno Union bombers with plasma torpedoes and landing struts. This is a lot to chew through. Luckily, no tactical droid to really buff them up, but these are independent calculate fighters, which they're really good. Having double calculates makes them really hard to take down.
Okay, so wait. Octor's list has independent on it?
Yes.
Okay, because you don't have that
no,
in
I'm sorry.
notes.
He does not. Actually, sorry,
Okay.
he does not. So no, he can share those calculates though between all those ships. So
yes, that's actually. I was gonna tell you that makes it stronger. he on that list. The only reason, I mean, if you ran them, you would only run them on the droids, but in reality, you don't want to do that really either, just because you only have 2 with Discords.
Yeah.
I think this is a horrible list that John has as a matchup. This would have been bad. This is pretty much the only list that you could have taken this on as you, in my opinion. And even you would have a hard time with it. I have the issue is Octor has plasmas and Discords, so all of that kills Zam like crazy. So I don't know how John's going to run this. I do think that he's going to have to be cagey. Every other one of his ships don't care about Discords to some extent, except for plasmas, except for Zam. So I wouldn't be surprised if Octor saved those Discords until Zam was in range, and then fired the one, because guess who can't barrel roll? Zam. So every other ship can barrel roll, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something that he has to it's something that he has to definitely take care of. I think that you don't engage the fighters, the vultures, with your front arc. You always want to keep them behind you, so that way you can like keep them at range, so that you're not taking multiple shots from multiple drones. That's the only way they can really have Zam survive the onslaught from all those droids. But at the same time, you don't want to leave the rest of your list high and dry, right? Because you need those drones to punch and take out at least 1.5 droids to get an advantage over the opponent's list. So yeah, definitely John is going to have a hard matchup here.
Yep. Not unwinnable.
Yeah.
Definitely not unwinnable. I actually was playing with a list for LVO similar to John's, but not with the Separatist interceptors. I just don't care for those at all. But I was running I had a very similar list to what he has there. So, and that maybe jamming beam comes in more handy than we think it's going to in this matchup. That might be the only time, because technically, if you can jam a Techno Union bomber so they can't shoot a plasma at you, and there is no DK1 probe droids coming at you, so they can't take locks early. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's unwinnable. I think Octor has the advantage. A, as a swarm player, and B, as having those plasmas on there just can really do destruction. Yeah, John's gonna have to focus on getting rid of those first, and somehow intercepting the 2 Discord missile ones with his 1 droid.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So, moving on to LVO. Is that where we head next? Yep. All right. So, I went ahead and I took... This was the best I could get. I apologize. I'll blow it up here a little bit. We'll zoom in a slight little bit. Zoom in maybe a little bit more. All right, there we go. So in the finals, we had Duncan Howard and Isophane. With Duncan's list, and okay, I'm just gonna stop right here to say we just had a final with Maul in the intercept or in the Sith Infiltrator. Like, that's pretty amazing. And I was thinking of running this list as well. I just hate how Maul burns down typically before anything else. And I don't feel confident in my Jango play to win things. But Duncan Howard obviously did, and I wish he'd been on stream more. And nobody's going to nerf Seps. They better not do a damn thing to Seps. I hope they already have their points list finalized. I have a bad feeling the reason they were waiting for LVO is to see what won, because that's what FFG would fucking do.
But they're already ranked C tier according to GSP, right? I mean, there's no way that this is supposed to be a Rebel versus Rebel final according to GSP. Come on.
Well, I don't know. They did say they thought Seps would.
No.
That was their weird prediction or whatever, that Seps would win. I really, I don't know. I'm a little surprised by Maul Jango. I'm very surprised by Maul Jango. How about that? That one I'm more surprised by. So, but anyway, so he had Jango with Lone Wolf, Protons, Count Dooku, Darth Maul with Hate, Protons, Grievous, and Palpatine. And the Palpatine Grievous is great for 3 points. Grievous is easily worth 3 points. And Pelp, oh my god, Pelp and Maul with Hate is just totes my goats. Like, oh hey, you just shot me. Let me recover a force and give you a stress. Oh, here you go. Merry Christmas. Have another stress. Oh, you want another stress? Take another stress. It's so good. So good. I would be more excited if he had ran double infiltrators, but I know you can't. I know that's not as good as this list. So
yeah, I was actually kind of surprised in the final there, because he basically sent an Isophane, rightfully went after Maul in the beginning, but he was kind of like Duncan was moving Jango to kind of engage the rear of the swarm, but I think took like 1 or 2 turns too long to engage, and that basically left his 1 agility Maul to suffer the wrath of the entire swarm. And I think that's where this list falls apart, right? Because yes, Grievous is nice to like cancel 1 of those damages, and Hate helps you, just constantly pump fire and offensively in it. But at that point, you're hoping to try to wipe out two droids per turn, just using your mods for it. And when you're facing that kind of list of swarm, it's very difficult to try to go in there, expect to try to take out 2 drones, and when it doesn't happen, you're going to take a lot of damage in return. And then it also doesn't help that that ISO's list had the K2B4, which gives you a strain in exchange for a calculate.
Who knew that was good? I don't know. The guy that was sitting right here that should have been running an almost identical list, but hey.
Yeah. So going on to ISO's list, he's the winner for the LVO here. Again, congrats to him. He's running Captain Sear in the Belbelab fighter with K2B4, which if you don't know which droid that is, this is the droid that allows you to spend a calculate. Your opponent either chooses to give you extra evade results, or you take a strain. So when you add that into independent calculates, that makes the droids much harder to kill, or at least with a penalty. It also, Captain Sear also had Impervium Plating and Soulless 1 for those defensive rerolls. And then he had DFS 311 with independent calculates. He had 3 separatist drones with Discord missiles and also independent calculations, and then 2 regular separatist drones with independent calculations by itself. A lot of utility in this particular list. DFS 311 passing off that extra calculate to a ship that will need it, particularly one of those separatist drones that can shoot one of those Discord missiles and still remain double calculated, or he can pass it off or just keep it. But he has a lot of utility with this list, a lot of agency of sharing those calculates with DFS whenever you needed to. And then on top of that, Captain Sear's ability, if you had If one of your drones had an enemy in their bullseye, they can spend a calculate to cancel one of their evade results, basically a crack shot, which makes this list both very offensive and very defensive at the same time.
Yep. So essentially, the way I theorize how this list happens, right, is because I've been running Watt with 7 drones, all with independent calculate, no impervium plating, and Watt and the K2B4, right? And I've had decent success with it, in fairness. In my local, I think I was 7-0, and now I'm 9-2, I think, after last week. So I did lose twice to another stupid Empire's Swarm with Lighten, which we won't talk about yet. We'll talk about that next week. But anyway, so essentially the way I theorize is Isofane probably goes, hey, if I drop 1 droid, what can I get? Oh, I get Discords, I get Seer, I get Impervium Plating, and I get K2B4. Probably seems like a fair trade. I think in this meta, the Discords are a fair trade because it forces your Rebel token sharing list to start taking barrel rolls. That's what it does. Is how do you get rid of a Discord? It's a bigger threat. I don't personally think Discords are as big of a threat as people think they are. Unless you can't barrel roll, then they are. Like, are you Bosk? Are you Zam? You know, but at the exact same time, you could shoot some of them off. So I understand fire sprays and Falcons both hate them, but you can still shoot them. You're just taking some of your shots to shoot them. So, you know, in a 2-ship list, yes, Discords suck. I didn't even think about that, but if the meta was going to be fire sprays, Discords are probably better than one other ship that I could put in there. That DFS 311 obviously is an easy upgrade. I mean, that's an easy thing to put in there. That's not even a questions asked type thing. You put that droid in there because of the fact that you have those extra points and you can do that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just getting that extra utility out of the list because you know, in your particular swarm or where you have it with Watt, yeah, you're getting the tactical droid that helps them defensively, and you're relying on more like arcs to shoot at your enemies and stuff. But with Seer, you're guaranteeing that crack shot, you know, if you can line up that bullseye. So it does offer a little bit of both that offensive ability and that defensive ability with the K2 droid at the expense of 1 less vulture. So it's a fair trade, and I think ISO was able to fly this very, very well to come up on top. So, and if I remember correctly, he actually went 5-0 in the Swiss, and then went undefeated. Yeah, pretty much the entire thing.
Yep. He was undefeated, and I believe the other one, yeah, he was undefeated. We'll go through them as we go through. We'll go through them. I don't think Duncan Howard was undefeated. He was 4-1. So
yeah.
All right.
So
I'm excited. I won't tell you how ecstatic I am that a droid swarm won. So, all right.
Yeah.
Top 4 list.
The next one that we have here is for Doug Howe. He was running an Empire list. He had the appearance here of the Defender Darth Vader here with no upgrades, and then he had 4 Academy pilots joining Vader with this. This is the first time I've ever seen this particular type of matchup with Vader. I've normally seen them either with Rack or with 2 of the TIE Barons. But having 4 TIE Fighters to go along with him actually acts as a really, really good deterrent force for Vader. The one match that I saw him on stream, he was facing off against a Resistance beef list. It was a 4-off list where he sent Vader in super aggressive to get behind, and then he basically sandwiched the list between the TIE Fighters and Vader. And he was actually really, really good. I believe he ended up losing that particular round just because, you know, dice are dice. But just to see that effectiveness against the Resistance, like to have it slam, if that Kazuda Ziona didn't like roll natties every single turn, Doug would have easily won that match very easily. But beyond that, this is a really, really nice effective list.
Well, and that so personal opinion, I did watch that match. So 2 things. well, I guess we'll stick with the match first, but
Yeah.
because I actually have ran this list. I've ran this list quite a bit, and this is actually a list that I give to beginners. If you are newer to the game and you want to learn certain tactics, TIE fighters are easy to fly, and they're consistent in dying specifically, typically. And Vader doesn't like to die unless you corner him, and it's a teaching block to explain how a fragile ship can be. But it also gives somebody a Darth Vader to play with, right? And if you're going to give somebody a Darth Vader, this one's easier to fly than the other one. Now, back to the actual match. Him coming in aggressive with Kazuto, that was fine. Him continuing to go back and forth after he couldn't really put much damage in to Kazuto forced him back into that corner for them to pick the TIE fighters up. He should have pretended like he was going to come back in 4K around to go after Kazuto and just gone past. A 3 hard would have put him right past. He could have boosted, would have been behind all the X-Wings, and then you go through it and you just start shooting, and boom, they're gone.
I agree. If he would have did that 3-turn, he would have been right on Rose at range 1 and just either eliminated Rose right off the bat easily, or at least put her in a serious condition where the rest of the TIEs could have taken her out, and then you just pick apart the T-70s after that. Totally agree. But yeah, he just stuck hard to Kaz, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I understand why, because you should be able to get Kaz off the board. Like, logically, Kaz should not roll 3 evades every turn, and you have to spend all your force to get 1 damage in.
I believe he rolled like a total of 15 evades in like 4 tries. It was insane. Like,
I understand the logic in it, but if because of where Kaz was at, you already had Kaz thrown off. Kaz was not coming back into the fight very easily. Because Kaz can't boost, so those things don't have boost on them. That's what I would have done, is I would have come in and gone after Rose or one of the X-Wings, and then allowed my TIE fighters to start coming in and then picking Kaz up on the back end. And then I would have 4K'd with Vader the next round, or maneuvered him away and flown away and come back in. But anyway, so that's that list. The other list was Jesse Van Wyck, who, this is obviously a archetype that everybody said would not be able to do well, and he made top 4. With Soontir Fel, shield upgrade, Predator, Vader with afterburners only, no fire control, Duchess with 5th Brother, shield upgrade, and Predator. I don't know if I like the 5th Brother on Duchess, but it obviously worked very well for him. I usually would have preferred to have something different for Vader, at least, giving him the fire control, or hate or something. I that's how I would have ran that, is with either hate and fire control, or even shattering shot, like at 3 points would have been I think a better investment than 5th Brother. But I understand having that other force token on Duchess can be very potent, but that's an expensive bloody Duchess. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it is. I've run this archetype a few times, and I am always super, super nervous with Duchess because, she has 2 agility, right? And even if you give her a shield upgrade, that's still only 5 health, one of which is only a shield. And it's, while she is very, very maneuverable, because you can choose to ailerons with her or not, and it makes her very unpredictable where she's going to end up. You rely on outmaneuvering your opponent constantly. And if you end up in a situation where you're facing multiple arcs, or at least like large space ships that can attack from like the sides and stuff, Duchess does not want to be caught in multiple arcs. And that's what makes her like very, very fragile. When you compare her to the 3 agility Soontir or Vader that can easily reposition whenever they need to arc dodge stuff. So, but still, considering that he made it all the way to top 4 with this particular list, shows that this is still a viable archetype. 3 aces can still do very, very well, even with Road. He was on stream, I think 2 or 3 times, of which he had to face off against other like I6 aces, and he still did well. He still did very, very well. So yeah.
Yep. Not a big fan of Duchess though, personally, but that's just me. All right. Top 8 lists. We have Andrew Sherrill. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
This list is a surprise to me. I did not know you could be successful running 2 decimators. I'm sad, and this is the sad part here. I actually would run the hell out of this list, and I don't own 2 decimators. I only own 1, and I don't feel like I should have to spend another $35 to buy one. But this one has Rear Admiral Sheru Wreck, basically with Ruthless, Novice Technician, Vader, Moff Gerardov, which I insanely love in this list, Protons, and a hull upgrade, with Captain Omicron. That's what I'm going to call him, Captain Omicron, with Intimidation, Novice Technician, Seventh Sister, hull upgrade, Proton Bombs, and Dauntless. Now, I had to look Seventh Sister up. I did not know there was a crew, 9-point crew force carrier. Did you know that, JJ?
Yeah, I actually I've run a variant of this particular list, and I do go force heavy with Rack because I like to run him with like 3 force, and the 2 that I reach for is always Seventh Sister and Grand Inquisitor because Seventh Sister has that utility where you can spend a force to change the stress into a tractor. Really, really potent. Yeah, especially when you're facing off against smaller ships. So yeah,
I was very surprised by that, and I actually think that's that crew in itself makes me more excited about this list. I'm really sad I don't own 2 decimators. Because I'm not going to be able to run this list. Now, Captain Omicron is actually one of the first ships I ever actually ran ever.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had ran that ship, or never have ran it really since I first started playing. Because I was excited, because I was like, I got a big ship. I could just go in and ran into you and take my action. And, I'm going to be able to take an action and I'm going to be able to shoot you and you can't shoot me. And then I realized there's lots of other ships that don't run into you and can shoot you and you have no green dice. So.
Yeah, it was. I was actually really surprised to see Novice Technician on this, on both of them actually. But yeah, it does work to help jam your opponent for it. The other part of it is Moff Gergerod. It's a crew that is criminally underused. I'm actually a very big fan of this particular card. Essentially, what it helps you do is that you can spend 2 charges to system phase boost with your ships, and they both have to perform the same boost if you decide to do the boost. So this really helps the decimators to get out of a tough spot where they can only do like a bank. So you can essentially do a 1-turn boost and then a 1-turn bank, and you clear your stress, and you do end up doing like a 90-degree turn. So that essentially is like doing a hard 2 or at least similar to a hard 2 maneuver on a decimator and still get an action, which is really, really great. And it also prevents them from blocking you if you have a lower initiative ship that can move before you. You can go during the system phase, get that boost to get into position, block that lower initiative ship before they block you, and then you can move past them and get your action still to either rotate your arc or just take a mod and shoot. So it's really good.
Okay, look, man, a decimator being able to boost is just crazy. Never thought about that's on this list. I used to run this on a decimator, and then I would run interceptors with it, and it would give the interceptors that pre-position boost, so that I could always do the barrel roll and focus, action, or an evade barrel roll, right? I always did it. That's how I use it. I never actually had thought about using it on the decimator itself. Like I never boosted myself, but you can.
Yeah.
So like I just never thought about that. But this works out really well. These decimators would be better if they had 1-8 or the 50-50 arc like a boss. Like I would like that better, I think, where you could have full front or full back and flip it back and forth. That would be pretty totes. Maybe it would make them overpowered, but that's what I would like to see. So I was excited by this list. This is, to me, this is as surprising as Maul making Top Cut, period. So Maul making Final Table Top Cut, was something I did not expect. This is also something I would not expect.
Yeah, definitely.
Next list is a list that I have seen ran in our locals. Our good buddy Corey actually runs a very similar version of this list, who's probably not watching tonight. But when he watches later on this week, I'm sure that this will come up. I like this list a lot. I've never seen that Mago Yarrow used before. So what JJ, can you explain that card first before we get too far into it?
Yeah, sure. So Magva Yara is a crew for Rebel only. It reads whenever after you defend, you acquire lock on the attacker. So this essentially allows Kanan to acquire lock every time he takes a shot from an enemy ship. And at initiative 3, he is going to most likely use that against that enemy very consistently, since he will probably take shots from higher initiative ships. Really, really solid upgrade for Kanan. This is an upgrade that I've used a lot. It used to cost a lot more, and that's why it was ignored. Surprised that it doesn't see much more play, but then again, there are a lot of other crew that Rebels use as well, instead of Magva. But yeah, it is a very, very solid way to give any ship that can carry this a target lock. You put this on on the Osetuck gunship, and all of a sudden you have mods. It's really good.
Yeah, I like this list a lot. Again, this is a little bit different. Corey typically flies Ahsoka with clusters and vector cannon, because then he could churn his arc out the back. Out the front, he's firing his clustered. You could put instinctive aim on there and clusters for 5 points, right? And hence why we probably don't see the ion torpedoes on Luke. But Corey has ran a similar list to this. I like this list. I think this is a very fun list to fly. And because it is black box and because I own every piece of this, this is definitely something I'll be putting on my local table at some point here. At some point here. This is, yeah. I again, I might change Luke out. Luke is kind of I'm not a big Luke fan. Personally, because my Luke always dies. I can never roll anything on greens to save my Luke. All right. Next one is Sir John. That's what I've been calling him, Sir John.
So he was flying a first order list for this one here. So this one is Commander Malorus and the She class light shuttle with Proud Tradition, and then 1 generic TIE silencer, the CNR Jameis engineer, and then 4 Epsilon squadron cadets in the TIE FO. This is a version of Malware. It's an archetype with Malorus and a bunch of generics. Now, Malorus's ability allows you to, if you roll a blank on offense, allows you to take a strain to re-roll that blank, and basically acts as a passive mod for the rest of your list. So for this particular archetype, these are shooting at lower initiatives, so they can basically get double mounts all the time, because they have that passive reroll whenever they roll that blank, and this makes them very, very effective attackers at lower initiative. And then on the next turn, they can do a blue maneuver and remove that strain with minimal consequences. So it's a very, very effective list.
Yep, and essentially it's because they up the price of those Epsilon cadets. That's why you can't fit all of them in the list anymore. I don't like the Proud Tradition. I would have put either ion missiles on the Simus engineer, or I would have put sensor scrambler on him.
Yeah.
Oh, can he take sensor? He could take it, can he?
Yeah. I actually would have put Fanatical on Malorus instead of Proud Tradition, because they only have 2 shields. So as soon as she loses the shields, all of a sudden she can passive mod herself.
Yeah.
And then the Sensor Scrambler on the CNR Jameis, just so he can get into position early and not get any locks on it. That's how I would have run it. But either way, this is still really, really good. Proud Tradition does have its use. There were moments where he did like a full stop, and that allowed him to still do a focus action with Proud Tradition. So it does have its use, but you're not going to consistently do full stops or stress yourself out like that. You could technically do a full stop and then like a white maneuver and then still take the focus with the Proud Tradition. But yeah, I mean, it does have its uses. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it on the Xi shuttle, I guess. How about that? There you go. That's where I'm not a fan of it personally, but I do like it as a card, just not on the Z shuttle. All right. Next one is Brian Lindamood, probably one of Charles's favorite stylists. And
Yes.
this was on stream twice, I believe.
Mhm.
And I have been won over to Tell.
Yeah.
I really like Tell now, and I hope Tell stays at the points because I think that's another ship I would be playing with. So essentially, that he ran Bosk with marksmanship, Jamie Beam, Greedo, Deadman Switch, Houndstooth, and Tel Tavera with Cutthroat, Jamming Beam, Hull Upgrade, Punishing One, Contraband, R5 TKO, then Fenrau with Predator, and the Z95 Nash the Pup with Deadman Switch as well. Now, here's the funny thing, right? If you kill Bosk, right, you're gonna shoot. You kill Bosk, he Deadman switches, right? Then that Nash the Pup deploys and does not take the damage. But then if you kill Nash the Pup, it's still only 6 points and it does another damage to you. So you could just fly it right into whatever you want.
Yeah.
And if you kill it and it's at range 1, there you go. Like, and so then it's forcing you to go after a 6-point ship. This is to me, since they raised the cost of Zam, this fits so much better because even without that, you can't put Zam in the list without dropping Deadman Switch, Nash the Pup and Deadman Switch, and Contraband. You'd have to drop all those just to put Zam on Bosk.
Mhm.
And I think this combo is very cheeky. Team kill. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I like this, and especially because Nabi, 2 weeks ago, Nabi flew that fireball onto a rock or whatever to kill it, to do damage to all those other shit lists. So we never played that video, did we? We forgot about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like that's genius as in and of itself. This actually is like, this makes Bosk a little bit more scary. Now, I will say, watching it, they effed up Greedo at least 3 or 4 times in the second stream. It was like, oh my god, like you don't flip Greedo's charge, he still gets to use Greedo. You just get to use it before he does. That's it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. That was a misplay, but I'll chalk that up to, they've been there for 3 days already. They're exhausted. They've probably been out late, and they just, they just missed the trigger correctly, But yeah, I just watching the stream, I fell in love with this list. I had never thought to put Deadman Switch together with Houndstooth like that. Just seeing that interaction, and then on top of that, Cutthroat triggering with Tell, it was just fantastic. It was a great match. He ended up losing to Jesse Van Wyck later on, but this was a lot of fun. Yeah, barely. It was definitely barely. The one thing that I was considering messing around with is Fenrau with Predator. I mean, yes, this he is pretty effective on his own to go in to hit like a hammer, and then just Predator to get that passive reroll. Even though you don't need to run it with Fearless, I think it's pretty solid. The one thing that I would consider putting instead of Fenrau is probably Han. It comes in cheaper, and you can put in a lot more upgrades on it. Probably like a 4-LOM hotshot gunner Han, and still have upgrades to put in for either on Han himself or something else.
Well, you could put Trick Shot, right?
Yeah.
Do you put Lando? You don't put Lando's Falcon title on it, do you? You
if you want to, sure, but if not, no, you don't have to.
I mean,
that's
okay, let's build it out because that's a 70-point Fen. So I got Han here at 48 points. Trick Shot puts 4 on into there. What else do you say?
So 4-LOM crew.
Yep.
Hotshot gunner. How many points am I at right there?
We're at 60, buddy. You still got 10 points to go.
Kira and the title. And then I could put the rest of the points somewhere else if I wanted to.
And now you got 5 extra points.
Yep.
So you drop Contraband on Tell, and you got 8 points. Do you drop the hull upgrade and put Zam? That's what you do. You put Zam back.
Why not, right?
Oh my god, you put Zam on Tell. Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. Zam on Tell actually might be pretty totes because. So I have a question. When Tell leaves the board, does those charges don't disappear, right? So like, if you're fully charged and you leave the board and you come back the next turn, you still are fully charged, and you get to deploy anywhere on the board around.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So, oh my god, that's I think that's what you do. Now I will tell you, Fen, in fairness, Fen did quite a bit of work. I don't like Fen because Fen dies for me. Not as bad as it does for Charles. Charles always loses Fen every time. Charles should absolutely never run Fen. And I hope he listens to this just to hear me say that so he can bitch at me next week. But I like Charles, Charles always dies with Fen every time. His damn Fen cannot live to save his life. But I would almost take Fen right off there, right? Like you said, and I would put Lando on there. Or not Lando, Han. I think Han makes it. I mean, you could drop to Lando too if you wanted to save another 6 points. And Lando's still a pretty bloody solid piece, in my opinion, in Scum.
Yeah.
All right. Hey man, we got some work to do because I like that list and I don't like Scum very often. And depending what they do with points and stuff like that, that actually might be a pretty bloody good contender for some of the new rules.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'm going to run this on Wednesday. I think that this is a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to run this on Wednesday.
Damn it. All right. You're running it against Charles though. Like that's we got to get a hold of Charles and tell him he has to play you on Wednesday on our stream because I just want to see him play against it. God, you could put Sam on here. Oh my God, you could just do all these. This is so scummy. And just can you imagine? I wonder if we can figure out how to bring a Razor Crest in. I wonder what a Razor Crest would do in this list too.
Oh yeah, I'll put Bando in here. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so because I gotta like depending on what the rules say, like there's at least 2 more tournaments, if not 3, before some of these new ships drop. So we have Crossroads in North Carolina coming up. Which I don't know if I'm going to go to or not yet. Now that I didn't have to pay for this, if I could switch my tickets somehow to that would be even better. Then it might be worth it for me to go because it's just a hotel room I have to pay for and food. Then I have what's the one in Illinois? There's one in Illinois on February 19th. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a tournament in Illinois, or not Illinois, Indiana, in Indianapolis, Indiana, that weekend. And then Adepticon's coming up. And if the only thing they release is the Mando pack between then and now, oh man. Now you're making me really want to go to that Crossroads because I think that Mando pack drops that weekend.
I don't know if it'll be tournament legal though, but yeah.
Depends on what they call.
Yeah, depends on what they call. Yeah, exactly.
Ugh. All right.
So the next list we got here.
Okay. I'm sorry. Like this is like do not tell. I hope Charles does not watch the stream. Do not tell Charles about that list. I just want to see the look on his face when he runs it. All right. Anyway, we're gonna move on to top 16. Sorry.
Sure, no worries. So next one we got here is Alex Farley here running a Scum list as well. This one's a double fire spray list. This first one here is Koshka Frost, which has 000 seismic charges, rig cargo chute, hull upgrade, Marauder title, and BT1. Koshka Frost ability allows a reroll on offense and defense if the attacker / defender is stressed, and 000 helps with that as well. If not, it gives her a free calculate. And then also the other ship going with this is Boba Fett with Lone Wolf, seismic charges, the late fuses, hull upgrade, and the Slave 1 title, the Scum one that allows you to change your dial. Really solid list for this one here. Double fire sprays are always really, really good. I'm actually surprised to see Lone Wolf on Boba Fett, but that does give Boba the long range reroll whenever you need it, and that can be pretty good. Seeing that the late fuses with seismic charges does give a bit of area denial, because if you could put this in a cluster of rocks, you can hold it for at least a turn and then choose to see which one you want to blow up and hopefully get some damage on your opponent through that. Yeah,
I like this list. I think I would have traded the Slave 1 title down to the other Slave 1 title and put a different gunner on him, but that would just be me. Or yeah, I think that's probably what I would do, or I would go with the one with the second bomb. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that the old Slave 1 title anymore with Boba and maybe it's just because I've never ran it with Boba. Like when I started running Boba, I never ran that title because it was just too expensive.
So I think the worth in this particular Slave 1 title is because of Road, especially if facing against other Initiative 5 aces. This basically lets you change your dial to that way to make sure that you don't get bumped or put yourself in an unfavorable position if another I5 moves before you and now you have to react to what they have to do. So that's the value in that particular thing. The only drawback to it is that it stresses you whenever you do that. So you have to also take in consideration that you have to be able to unstress yourself to get some actions later on. And I think that's what Lone Wolf also helps with too at range.
It's a reroll.
On.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I agree with the Lone Wolf on it if you're going to do that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be using Lone Wolf. And rumor has it that we're getting a crew slot back for Boba. So welcome to Boba Mall again, or Boba Assage. Whichever.
Hey, that took me in the top 16 in one of the GSP tournaments. So yeah.
No, I don't want to hear it. I know it did. I'm sure it did. Okay. Next one, William McDavid running a 3-ship CIS list close to my heart. 404 bomber with advanced protons, DK1 probe droids, landing struts. All right, same thing. Then we have Zam with Dooku, thermals, and composure, which is new. I've not usually ran composure on Zam, but it makes sense. And Grievous, which is hilarious that he put composure on Grievous because me and Corey were having this exact same conversation about why would you just not put composure on a Belbalab? Why not? Like, it makes sense. And Impervium plating is Solus 1. This list is a similar archetype. Love it. Think it's a great list. It was one of the contenders I was looking at playing with for LVO as well. I think I just like my swarms better, but
yeah, it's a solid ace list. You have 2 I4s, which are still relevant in this meta, and then Zam Wussel, which is always a threat. Having DBS 404 with the DRK probe droids allows everybody to get those target locks early. So that definitely helps out Zam and Grievous, just getting those mounts early on. And then he can just basically sit on a rock, wait for the enemy to approach him, and then at that point, get off the rock, hopefully get that advanced proton torpedo in, and hit hard with its ability, and hopefully have a calculate to go with it when he shoots. So that's a very nice support piece. And then you have to worry about Zam and Grievous coming in. This is probably found in a pincer format. I don't believe they had them on stream to my memory, but I would fly this as a pincer, putting Zam with the droid bomber on one end and Grievous as a flanker, and force your opponent to choose one. So,
yeah. All right. Next list, Paul Olson, which is funny because him and I actually kind of talked a little bit about this list. Or not about this, but about running droid swarms together. Unfortunately, I couldn't go and run my damn droid swarm, but he ran DGS 286, which is a little different. Not seen that ran with a droid swarm before, with tracers, Kraken, and the stabilizers. And then he had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 droids with struts. Very solid list, especially if you don't mind running the HMPs. I think they're very good. I ran a very similar list for the first, what was the first tournament we did? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, I think it's
whatever the first Crate Cup. This is almost identical to the Crate Cup list that I had. Other than I didn't run DGS 286. I ran DBS, whatever the I1 droid was, DGS 047. But this essentially, this droid allows you to transfer calculate token to yourself. So you always have a mod you always get a mod no matter what for your tracers.
Yeah, I think it's also a solid way to help keep your HMP alive, especially if you're going to end up in multiple arcs. You can always crack in yourself to keep one and then just grab another calculate from one of your other ships, so that way you can at least have both a offensive and a defensive calculate when you're doing your attacks, and also set up those tracers as well, so that way the rest of your drones have shots later on. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid archetype there.
I like it. All right, next one, Josh Bartlett.
Josh Bartlett running the Republic here, actually, running 2 generic calibrated laser targeting Jedi Knights in the Delta 7s. And then Oddball in the Y-Wing with the Tirfon Belly Run, Ion Cannon Turret, Proton Torpedoes, R4 Astromech, and the Synchronized Console, and then Anakin with Malice, Predator, and Synchronized Console. So this particular list allows for Oddball to engage while he's on top of an obstacle, using those proton torpedoes. If he actually gets, if he does like a red maneuver, he does get a free lock, which he can then use Synchronized Console to pass it out to Anakin if he does get it, or vice versa. And then the calibrated laser Jedi Knights can boost into position and take a focus. And then hopefully if they get that bullseye, they can add that extra hit onto their attacks there. Pretty solid list there. The first time I've actually seen Oddball with Tirfon Belly Run to get that off. But if you're able to dial in a maneuver and get that target lock off, you're still able to use your proton torpedoes and then hopefully pass on that target lock over to Annie. Easy.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. I like it. It's spicy. How about that? There you go. This is a spicy list. I'm happy to see Oddball make top cut. How about that? There you go. Like,
yeah,
that's
and Y-Wing,
I like hair.
Y-Wing Oddball of all things, right?
Yep. I've never. I don't think I've seen Oddball make a cut since I've played. So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Arc 170 Oddball and the V19 Oddball, but never seen the Y-Wing one. Especially because if you do the red action, you're never gonna get that stress off unless you go straight. With this one, I mean, you go wherever you need to go, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that Teflon belly rub is going to be a little bit more important going forward in the future. So, just personal opinion, could be wrong, but I hope they don't raise the points on it, because it would be fun to have a Y-Wing meta for once. And you know what? Okay, if you go back to, we haven't talked about the Ryan Farmer Flybetters, cast, which I don't know if we're going to get to tonight or not, but they had an interview with AMG, and I did not know this, but I guess Will Stick's first favorite plane is a freaking Y-Wing.
Yeah, with TNCs, yeah.
Like, all right, cool. So hopefully they don't raise anything for Y-Wings. It'd be nice to see a few more Y-Wings. They did have on the GSP stream 5 resistant Y-Wings with wartime loadout and turrets.
Yes.
It didn't do well, in my opinion. Like, at least on stream, it didn't do well. But it looked fun to run, and it was the healthiest list I've ever seen. 45 fucking points. 45 points. Oh my god.
So interestingly enough, back when Isophane was starting to like try out his list that one, the one list that I actually played that I actually beat him with was 4 Y-Wings without wartime loadout. I did it with engine upgrade, and one of them was one of the named pilots. I think it's Lima something, and Rose Tico with C3PO. And essentially what I would do is that I would just keep the ion turrets to the side, and I would just boost constantly, because the native ability would constantly give me a calculate, and then I could get rerolls with one of the other pilots there. So so those resistance Y-Wings can actually be good without wartime loadout, and they can actually move really, really fast with the with just the base title and an engine upgrade, because you could just boost calculate all day and get into spots that Y-Wings have no business getting into. The 3 bank boost is good.
Can you just, if you run 5 of them, do you just like run 2 in the center and run 2 on the outside or something like that?
Yeah, I ran them
span the whole board.
I ran them in like an offset formation. So it was like a giant conga line where they were just moving around the edge of the board, and I was just picking off his droid fighters that way. Yeah. because they don't like ions. So yeah.
Dirty. All right. Andrew Lippens is the next one. Running, and this is the list that beat the Defender list, I believe. I'm not 100% positive, but I think it was this list. I like this list a lot. So this is Commander Poe, naked, except for S foils. Jessica Pavov with M9G8 S foils. A red T-70 X-Wing with R6D8 in the S foils, and a Fireball Kaz, the best pilot, better than Soon's here. There you go, Charles. With R5 Astromech. He's not, but he might be. I don't know. Have you ever watched Resistance?
Yes.
He's a pretty good pilot. It's more screen time than Soon's here.
He's the best pilot in the galaxy, and he died on an asteroid, which was hilarious. It was great. Oh man. But this was a fantastic list for Pim. He's we see him a lot on the NCX like Discord and on the games there. He flew this very, very well. We got to see him on stream twice. He did end up beating that Defender list with the TIE Fighters, and then he lost to, I forgot who else. In the top 16, I believe, is what he played and what he lost on, which was heartbreaking because he was so close. But he flew this really, really well. This is a pure efficiency list. Poe being able to either double modify himself whenever he needs to, or one of the ships, just getting those rerolls and providing a reroll with the droid, and then the Red Squadron expert getting rerolls for every ship that has the Defender and the Bullseye, and then Kaz just being a very cheap ace. You just heal up your initial damage with R5, and you're rolling 3 dice on both offense and defense until they can knock you down. And wow, it's really good, really efficient.
Yeah, I like it. I think this is a pretty good fun list to run too. So
yeah.
All right, next one. Go ahead, Charles. Or go ahead, Charles. Charles is not here to. I'm sorry. It's a habit. Whenever we have scum, usually I'm just like, hey, Charles.
So this one is Michael Jacques Mitil. Excuse me if I butcher your name. So he's running a scum list here. He has Dengar, the Jump Master, with Auto Blasters, Grievo, over 2 modulators, Punishing 1, and R5PH, which is the reroll droid. Then he has Fenrau and Old Tarok with Fearless in the Fang Fighters. Really solid list. You have 2 I6s and an I5 here. All 3 of them punishing really, really hard. Old Tarok is a sleeper here because if you can manage to do like a complete face off with Old Tarok, he gets to take out one of your green tokens, and then he gets to shoot you with full force with both Fearless, and then if you try to shoot him back, he has Concordia face off to give him that free evade. Dengar here with both over 2 modulators, Greedo, Auto Blasters, and R5P8. Really, really strong because over 2 modulators gives you those 3 calculates. So on the turns when you know that you're going to get hit in the front with Dengar, you have those mods for both of the attacks. And then R5P, it allows you to do a reroll. The only drawback to that particular droid is that if you roll a critical, you get damage. But a really, really strong list. This is all offense.
Yeah, it's a pretty aggressive list. This is a list that says I'm going to come in and hit you, and either I'm going to die or you're going to die. One of the two.
Yep.
All right.
And then going on to the next one here, we have a Rebellion list here with for Wyned Court. He's running Hera in the B-Wing with fire control system, ion cannons, and then the foils. Jake Farrell in the A-Wing with marksmanship, prockets. Lieutenant Blount in the Z95. Then Arvel Kryn with Predator and Intimidation in the A-Wing. And then AP5 in the Sheath of Feed with K2SO. To round off that list.
You forgot the Phantom upgrade, which doesn't even need to be there. It doesn't need to be there. Like, why does he have the Phantom? Is it just like a trolling thing?
It's the equivalent of Jammy Bean. You just put it there just to put it there, right?
Jammy Bean could do something. The Phantom, who are you going to dock with? Are you going to dock with Hera? You can't dock with B-Wing Hera.
Hera dies and then you eject AP5 from the back of the B-Wing. That'd be great.
All right. if they're AMG, if you want to make a genius upgrade, that would be fun. Not very
Hey,
realistic.
I always thought that when they released the resistance transport, that if you destroyed it, you could eject the pod off like separately.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that would have been great, since it has the little peg there to do it. Sadly, it never came true. So
he likes the art. All right, well, fair enough then.
so yeah, really solid
this is
efficiency
bullshit,
list.
Jacob. Yep. Moving on. I don't like Rebels.
Boo. Rebels are S tier, man. Come on.
Yeah, not this week. They weren't. Seems like Separatists were S tier, unfortunately, which I was not super happy with because you know what that usually means. But next list is Joshua Miles. This is a take on a Poe Rey list. This is a pretty much naked Poe with Rey's Millennium Falcon, Zori Bliss with Wartime Loadout, Protons, and R4 Astromech. Poe, fancy Poe, that has Overdrive, R4, and Marksmanship. Great list. The only thing I would disagree with is the Protons. And that's only because I would drop that down to Plasmas to be able to put Corsella on there. I would have dropped Marksmanship and that down to Plasmas and put Corsella on Rey. And that's just me. I would have invested that, but this is a aggressive. Yeah, this is like a deck you in the face type list. Love the list. I like Poe Rey as it is. I do actually enjoy a stripped down Rey because whenever I run Rey really fat, Rey always dies for me. So, pretty quickly. So I do like this stripped down version of Rey. And I think Rey still hits hard enough. She's worth investing in. Even at 70 points in this list. Rey was on stream staying stressed the whole time. So
yeah, Corsella really helps.
Yeah, I like Corsella just only for that, and I only say that because I don't. The Protons on Zori are great, but I think Protons are overcosted. I shouldn't say that, but I think they should be restricted from Rebel and come down in points. There you go. That's my hot take for the night. Rebel can never have Protons, but let's bring them down to 10 points. Or 9 points. I think 9 points.
Vendor is the only person who should ever run Protons and advanced Protons. You're right.
All right. That's a whole different discussion. I hate you so much. I hope they never release that.
So for the rest of the chat, right? So we had a game about 2 days ago where I just brought like this random list that I
in my COVID state.
This included Major Vendor with Advanced Proton Torpedoes, the Title, and Fire Control System, and Diamond Boron Missiles. So I ended up getting behind his Leighton and the Brute, and all I did was, for like 3 turns in a row, is 1 or 2 straight, reload, and then shoot the APT. I must have shot like, 5 of them in the game?
It wasn't 5, 3. You shot it 3 times, and 2 times you hit full strength.
Yeah. So it was ridiculous. So yeah. Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, you only had it 3 times, and fuck you. That is bullshit. And I'm happy that they will never ever release a star class alpha fighter in the same. That'll never happen again. They'll never do that. And he's just pissing me off. He's just pissing me off before going to the other stream.
I gotta get you riled up, man.
You did. You got me riled. I hated that list. I don't hate it. Hey, want to know what I'm happy about? Here, let me tell you one thing I'm happy about, JJ. You know who was not in top cut this weekend? Torkel fucking Mux.
Yes. I was keeping an eye out too. I was like, man, I'm waiting for the HWK. We did see an HWK swarm for Rebels, and I was like, this is either going to be really good or really terrible.
It was awesome. I was excited when I saw that on stream.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. With having COVID, you know what I did this weekend? I took my laptop and I put it next to me. I put the stream on the laptop, and then I took my cell phone and I put the stream on my cell phone. So I had it on both places. That way, if I felt nauseous or didn't want to, look the other way, I had it both places. And then I was playing video games on TV. Because what else
Yeah.
do you do? I mean, like Friday night, I had nothing to do. Like, you can't hang out with anybody. You just sitting home by yourself. And so I ordered pizza for the family so that they didn't have to deal with my cooking. And I didn't lose any of my taste or anything, right? But, you know, it was like so I'm blowing my nose, yelling at the GSP stream. You could probably go back through and look at the chat and probably be like, yeah, that guy doesn't look sober. And then I started drinking. So, you know, then on top of that, I was like, screw this shit.
Yeah, exactly. So do we want to jump into the Mando, or sorry, to the Book of Boba?
Yes. So all right. So let's go ahead and wrap this up tonight. I did want to talk about the AMG stuff, but I think we're gonna wait a week. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait a week, and I'm hoping we'll get a rules drop and a points drop this week. And I will say we are going to probably run games on Wednesday, even if it's just me and JJ running games. I think technically, if I test negative, I could come out of quarantine tomorrow. But I don't know if I'm going to test negative, so I don't know if I'm going to really push it, you know? So, and I'm on call all week. So I will forewarn you, if it's you and me playing on stream and all of a sudden it's just JJ playing on stream and talking to everybody, it's just because I had to take I'm on call for work this week. And this is the first time I've been on call for the new company I work for.
Yeah. Hopefully my mic doesn't crap out like it did last week. So
yeah, we'll do some testing ahead of time. But I think if they drop rules or anything like that on Wednesday, we'll be playing with all the new stuff. If they haven't dropped rules, I think we're going to go ahead and play with what we know. Anyway, I'm at the point where I think we should play with the bumping rules and things like that. If you lose, it's not my fault. That's a good one, Deslin, actually. That's a good one. I'm going to use that. I should have used that on Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday when I played you, JJ, except for I did win. I don't know how I won. I shouldn't have won. I should not have won that game, but I did somehow. And then JJ got tilted and didn't want to play another game. And I'm like, I have COVID. I can't go anywhere. What are you going to do? It's only 11.
I had to go to bed, dude. I was tired as hell. Jeez.
JJ flew me onto a rock. Well, I did hit a rock with an interceptor. I landed on it, couldn't shoot, and had to fly through it the next turn. And I still didn't die.
Survived to kill my ships. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, that was awful. But on the other hand, your stupid ass aggressor did not die after, I think, 17 shots. Like, you just, every effing shot I took, you were able to evade almost everything. Except for the one time.
Yeah, the one health aggressor that freaking took like every shot from your list and just survived somehow. Yeah, that was great.
Like until the very end. And then you're like, oh, I'm done. I was like, no, I didn't get to kill it. It's not fair. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna throw the extra, or whatever you want to call it. I apologize, because it's COVID time. But we're gonna end the show. If you would like to hang out and talk Book of Boba Fett, episode, what is it, 3 and 4?
Yes.
Or 4 and 5?
4 and 5. 4 and 5. Yeah.
We are actually going to talk about it this week. So you're welcome to stay, but there will be spoilers. So we'll be back in 3 minutes and ready to talk about Book of Boba Fett.